voters with an opportunity to see and hear the candidates so that they're able to make informed decisions when voting. Thank you to the candidates for attending tonight, providing an opportunity for voters to meet you, hear your story and your goals, and talk with you individually. Thank you to the League's Voter Services Committee, especially co-chair Paula Edwards. It takes a lot to put on an event like this and make the arrangements, so we appreciate that, Paula. Our organization was founded in 1920 to help voters register to vote, learn about how to vote, and to be informed about issues and candidates. Our mission after 104 years remains the same, to empower voters through education. The League is a nonpartisan organization. We do not support candidates and do not oppose candidates. We provide opportunities for voters to learn about candidate by sponsoring events like tonight's meet and greet. We hope to sponsor several more opportunities for voters throughout the 2024 election cycle. Before we introduce our candidates and give them an opportunity to speak, I will review the rules. Each of the candidates this evening has agreed to the rules. We ask that the audience listen respectfully during the candidates' comments, and please hold applause until all candidates have spoken. The League does not fact check any of the candidates' statements for this event, and it's the opportunity for each voter to determine the truthfulness of all the candidates' statements. We have 5 candidates with us tonight, and we want to have time for you to talk with them individually. The rules for this evening's meet and greet are that candidates must have signed and returned an agreement agreeing to these rules, but we want you to know about them too. Each participating candidate will have 5 minutes for a candidate's statement, which gives everyone approximately, so we'll take up about 25 minutes listening to their statements. In order of speaking is first by numerical district, so District 5, and then alphabetical order of the candidates. It just seems the easiest way to do it. Candidates agree not to engage in personal attacks. The League reserves the right to publicize this event and may, at the option, invite the media or some other entity not associated with any other candidate or campaign to provide televised or radio coverage. This event will be recorded and available for viewing on our YouTube channel. We have cards here with our website, and there will be a link to this event should you choose to watch it again or tell a neighbor or friend about it. Candidates would be welcome to use the link as well, so you can send constituents to the website so they can see. The League claims copyright ownership of any recordings or transcripts produced. The recording may not be edited for campaign purposes. The candidates and their supporters agree not to use any meet and greet audio clips, video clips, or partial transcripts for political advertising or other purposes without the express written permission of the League of Women Voters Holland area. Our timekeeper tonight is Anna Perales. She will signal each speaker when there's 30 seconds remaining to their 5-minute introduction. When Anna holds up the stop sign, please complete your sentence and stop speaking. We want to acknowledge that all candidates who have filed to run for the office of County Commissioner have been invited to this event tonight. We hope to have all candidates participate in upcoming events, enabling voters to hear from candidates before the August 6th election. All the candidates tonight who are present are Mayor Mark Northrup, District 5, Michelle Dielman and Sean Huff, District 6, and Heather Majestic and John Teeples, District 7. Now it's time to hear from our candidates, and the order of speaking, alphabetically by district, is Mayor Mark.
I'm not going to use the mic. In a previous life, I was a ship driver in the worst of conditions, and I had a tendency to learn how to shout orders, but I'm not shouting orders tonight, but I do have a voice that can boom. I have been the mayor of Hudsonville about 9 years. I've been in the commission nearly 11 years, and it's been a really a humbling event to be the mayor, and it's been a wonderful journey. I have a great city, great staff, great commissioners, and most important, we should have great residents. It's just been, I can't describe how privileged and thrilled I've been to be the mayor of Hudsonville all those years. I only bring that up, not as a point of bravado, but as a point of contrast. Joe Moss, and I'll use his name quite openly, I mean, he holds the seat right now, came to be a county commissioner with really no experience in leadership. In fact, he's proud of the fact that his only requirement to be a commissioner was he raised a family. And he's bragged about that he's never held meetings, he's never led people, and that shows in his leadership and the temperament of the county, unfortunately. There was an article today about Ottawa Impact and Crane's Business, which is hardly a liberal journal, but there's some commentary from the West Coast Chamber of Commerce. I think you said, Joe, you're going to be speaking there tomorrow, where they query the businesses and I'm trying to understand what is the impact of Ottawa Impact on the community. And they quite pointedly come out and say that currently 81% of the respondents in the West Coast Chamber of Commerce that the political environment is negatively affecting their business. Now think about that. We're frightening businesses, and they're already thinking about leaving if they already started to have left. Folks, this is serious. These are our jobs. This is our future. These are our homes. Our kids won't be able to live here and raise families if we don't have a vibrant economy to support who we are and what we are. Now, you're probably sitting there thinking, I was thinking about this. You're probably thinking, well, how am I any different than Ottawa Impact and the rest of these non-OI people? We all have kind of some marketing. My marketing gal is back there. She's awesome, by the way. But you know, we were kind of taken in when Ottawa Impact came on board. They had really good marketing, and they convinced us. So you're looking at me and saying, well, how am I going to be different? All I can tell you is that I've been in leadership roles in my whole life. I don't claim to be a great leader. I claim to be somebody who's going to try really hard to be a great leader. There's a difference there. It's called humility. It's called empathy. We've lost that at the county. It's all about political polarization and this hyper things on the far ends, whether it's out here on the woke or whether it's out here on the far right, these Christian nationalists. It doesn't serve anybody to be out there on either side. We got to get back in the middle, and we just got to have good leadership. So that's really what we intend to do. Now there's 13 or 14 of us non-OI people that are running right now, and there is some jeopardy here in running. Our colleague on the commission, Chris James, who took a seat by 20 points, the Democrat. By the way, they're not my enemy. I am a Republican. I am a conservative. But you know what? I hold no malice. None. And none of us that are running as non-OI don't hold that malice either. We just seek to govern and look out for everybody. That's kind of what the Constitution calls for, right? So there's jeopardy here because Chris James got fired from his job at Michigan State because Joe Moss called Michigan State and said, we're not gonna fund your grant for nutrition programs in the county. I'm flabbergasted. But let me go another layer deeper. Joe Moss called me the day we hired a city manager who happened to have been a Democrat in college and told me I could not hire him as my city manager. And I told him so much and say the words where you could go. Now, if we all lose, we're all in jeopardy to a certain degree. So please, people, vote August 6th on Mark Northrop, District 5. Thank you, Reed.
District 6 will be Michelle Dealman. Michelle?
I just love when you say my name. Don't start yet, Hannah.
You're adjusting.
I was kind of kidding. Oh, sorry, Sean, you're gonna have to look it up. Hi, everybody. I am gonna channel Mayor Mark's energy. I am Michelle Gilman, and I am running for County Commissioner for, as a moderate Democrat in District 6. And I'm really nervous. I am not a politician, and I don't public speak often, so it's kind of scary. I will say that I am really concerned about the erosion of our county's integrity and reputation over the last 18 months. The commissioners affiliated with Iowa Impact have made several costly decisions without public support. I really do believe we need stability, transparency, and respect from our leaders. These principles were practiced in the not so distant past, I feel like, and I remember clearly a few years ago, I feel like these principles were practiced, and I would like to bring them back, truthfully. I know that many of my neighbors are also frustrated by what Ottawa Impact is doing. While we may disagree on some political issues, most of these issues fall outside the purview of the County Commission. I hope we can work together to focus on what we have in common and bring unity back to our community. I am running because I truly believe our shared principles unite us, and that personal agendas and individual personalities always divide us. In order for democracy to work as our founders intended, our common welfare must come first. That's democracy. Our common welfare coming first is democracy. I think we can agree that right now, Ottawa County needs balance and unity. I am running because I believe that you deserve a moderate choice for unity and democracy in this election. I believe in being democratic in both thought and in action. I believe in fiscal responsibility, and I bring a lot of common sense to most things I do, I will say. I feel like that's a strength of mine. I think tax dollars should be spent prudently and in service of the common good. As your commissioner, I won't waste, this is my favorite one. I won't waste time on issues that fall outside the scope of county government. I'm so tired of the time wasted on things that aren't in the scope of county government. And I will ensure that the county budget includes adequate funding for vital services. I would like to restore trust in our local government. As your commissioner, I will ensure that agenda items are publicly posted in advance rather than being added during meetings. I will work to eliminate frequent use of closed sessions by the board, and I will not propose or support any action that I haven't had input from my constituents. I think that's so important. I will always be accountable to those I serve, because again, that's democracy. There will be no surprises. I would love it if we could make Ottawa County unified, stable, and go back to being a little boring, because I remember when it was kind of a little boring. I remember when I, no offense, didn't know who the county commissioners were because they were doing such a good job. And I don't really want to do this, but I feel like it's a calling because it's gotten so bad. It almost makes me cry, sorry. I've been married for 34 years to my very best friend. I have 4 kids we've raised in Ottawa County, went to Jefferson Public Schools. I have 3 grandchildren and 1 on the way. I can't wait to hold that little baby in September. I think that one thing that makes me uniquely qualified to be county commissioner is the unique nature of my job. As a small business owner, I'm a salon owner and a stylist. I have had the privilege, honestly, to engage one-on-one with Ottawa County residents for the last 35 years. Actually, probably 40, but this has afforded me the unique opportunity to get to know them and their needs in a way that very few others get to. I get to see our common humanity and I get to value our differences. I've often had to put aside my personal bias and listen in order to create a space where all feel welcome and safe. It has really taught me how to be open-minded. I've also sat on the board of nonprofits for 25 years at the local and state level. Holding these positions has taught me how to work in cooperation with board members to have experience with Robert's Rules. I think it's really important. I've noticed as I've gone to board meetings, that there is no account for Robert's Rules. And so I think that's helpful. Thank you.
District 6 candidate Sean Haff.
Yeah, that should work. You know, until I met Mayor Adams, I used to think I didn't need a microphone to speak, but, you know, you're putting me to shame over there, and I kept getting told that the last League of Women Voters I need to use a microphone. So that's one thing I've learned during the campaign trail, during that here. You know, I just wanted to, I'm thinking about when we're wrapping up the campaign here. I've been campaigning with John Teeples and Mayor Adams, and, you know, I just wanted to say that during this campaign, you know, we've taken the attacks, we've taken the hits, but we've weathered the Ottawa impact storm so far. We've held our ground and we have not backed down. We've had the courage of our conviction to guide us, and we're here to provide leadership for Ottawa County. So regardless of what happens August 6th, it's been a pleasure to get to know you guys in the campaign with you. I'm Sean Haff. I've lived in West Michigan 50 years. I've lived in Ottawa County 40 years. When I decided to go out and travel the world a little bit, I spent the other 10 years living in Kent County. So my roots here in Ottawa County are pretty strong, and I know the values that make this county, in my opinion, a great place to live. You know, back in December of 2023, I interviewed for the job. It was a very good experience. I enjoyed the interview process. I enjoyed answering questions during that. And I didn't get the job, and I thought that would be the end of it. But I've had some very persuasive people that just kept asking me to consider running. They thought we needed some options here again in the Republican primary. So I was still kind of leaning against not doing it. And I was getting ready to go on vacation. And I was relieved that the whole debacle that was the issue with Director Hambley had been finally settled. And I thought maybe things would settle down in Ottawa County. We could get back to common sense and good governance out of the county commissioner board. And I'm reading all of a sudden that John Gibbs has been fired and that we're going to have to deal with yet another lawsuit. And that kind of was just it for me. I said, I've got to run. We can do better than what we're getting here in District 6 in Georgetown Township and District 7 and District 5. Contrary to what some people claim, these lawsuits were all avoidable. And what's equally disturbing is there's nothing wrong with admitting you made a mistake. I mean, one of the things I appreciate about John Teeples when I was at his campaign kickoff event is he said, I don't have all the answers. And I really appreciate that. I don't have all the answers either. I'm going to take time. I'm going to make sure things are done right and correctly the first time. And what happens when you go in on day one and you fire the county administrator and replace him with John Gibbs? Day one, what happened? 14 months later, they fired John Gibbs and we have another lawsuit that we have to deal with. But what really irritates me after all that is Chairman Moss said he'd do the exact same thing if he took over again. He'd just go in and clean house. And it didn't work. You look at the lawsuit over the Open Meetings Act. Well, that's just lawfare, some people say. And I understand, you know, technically the law wasn't voted. But when you know that people are going to be looking out and trying to get you and go after mistakes you might make, take your time and don't go in there and clean house day one. You had to know that people are going to assume you're violating the act when you went in on day one and appointed a chairman, hired a new administrator, hired a new, a new law firm to represent the county. That was all day one. That could have been avoided. And no matter what happens with the whole John Gibbs lawsuit, that's 110% on the current commissioners that voted for him. it looks bad no matter what happens. If John Gibbs is right, Ottawa Impact commissioners look terrible if what he said is true. If what they said about him is true, they appointed him day one. But at least we finally got an apology about that. So I'm grateful for that. And it comes down to the hiring process, which is something I'm going to take very seriously here in Ottawa County. In my experience, what they hire people on is trust. And when I say trust, do you agree with them politically? You can look at one of the people that they, wow, only 30 seconds already. Can barely get up here. Look at the people that interviewed for the job. They had Mr. Buck interview for the job. Last I saw him, he was online talking about how the United States didn't drop nuclear weapons on Japan, on the two cities there. I mean, that's the type of person that they allowed to interview for the job. And our current commissioner in District 6 is espousing conspiracy theories about election fraud here in Ottawa County and talking about accessories that you don't like at Walmart. We can do better, and I will do better as your commissioner. Thank you.
The candidates for District 7, up first is Heather Majestic.
It's a good height for me. Hello, my name is Heather Majestic, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters. Turn the mic down toward me.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah, you're pretty close.
Okay, start again. Okay. Hi again, my name is Heather Majestic, and I want to thank the League of Women Voters for giving me the opportunity to speak today. I grew up in Western Pennsylvania. I am not originally from Michigan, but I went to college at the University of Notre Dame on a Navy ROTC scholarship. I studied business administration, and upon graduation, I was commissioned as an officer in the United States Navy. I served in Alaska and on the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower, which is an aircraft carrier, and I was a supply officer at SEAL Team 2 out of Virginia. In 2001, I got married to my sweetheart, Dave. I graduated from Michigan State with my master's degree, my MBA, and I also started my career at Steelcase, all in the same year. Currently I am the sourcing manager or a sourcing manager at Corwell Health. I have 2 children. My son is named Nick, and he is a rising senior at Michigan State University. And my daughter Abby is going to be a freshman also at Michigan State, so I'm going to be paying double tuition this year. Very excited about that. But suddenly in 2019, my beloved husband passed away of a sudden heart attack. So my children at that point were 16 and 13. The loss of my husband required me to completely reevaluate who I am as a person. I became a single parent. Who am I as a Christian? Who am I as a member of my community? Why am I running for commissioner in District 7? As someone who chose to raise my family here, I care very deeply about my friends and neighbors. Because I'm a single parent, my children and I have long understood the benefits of community in addition to family. We had to learn that. My primary objective in running for commissioner is to see to it that all families in Ottawa feel the support that I felt, that they feel loved and valued and supported in whatever level of need that they have. The current board leadership is failing our community on several fronts. Excessive costs related to lawsuits, severance packages, unnecessary expansion of departments and additional staff. Their display of utter lack of transparency in decision making, and they pass meaningless resolutions that benefit no voter. They hire their own cronies without the guidance of their human resources department, I have been part of many large organizations and have benefited many times. I know what the importance of an HR department is. They also fire people without cause, again, without guidance of their HR department. They act as though they are running an autocracy, but the lawsuits filed against them for wrongful termination and the amount of money that has cost us says otherwise. And that has been at the peril of the services that they were elected to provide to our community. We are all suffering. The lack of respect shown the constituents, the cronyism in their hiring, and their vindictive actions against those they see as political enemies must stop. We want a county where we all belong. So I ask, for whom does freedom ring in Ottawa County? Thank you.
District 7 candidate John Peebles will be our last speaker.
Thank you, League of Women Voters, for this again. So I'm John Teeples. I'm the non-Ottawa Impact Republican candidate for District 7. And just for a backdrop, tonight, or certainly by this weekend, we will have walked every street in this district. I think I really have a strong pulse now of the community, and it's pretty awesome. Friends, there's a difference between an elected official who seeks power and an elected official who seeks genuine service to the neighbors. My whole life has been about service. I've been an attorney for 38 years. I held my own law firm for over 20. I represented the city of Hudsonville for over 20 years, all these school districts, including Granville. I was president of the Genesee Chamber of Commerce and the Granville Chamber of Commerce over the years, and merged those organizations 10 years ago. I've held numerous leadership, and I'm not going to go into all of it. I would refer you back to my website, right? But on my website I say, don't ask me what I do, ask me who I am. And I hope what I am reflects on what I do. My whole life has been about service. I have done so much in this West Michigan because my heart, even my law practice, for me was simply a tool to serve people. It was not for me. Obviously I benefited from that, right? My family are skilled tradespeople. But it was always about service. And this extension now going into the county commission is about that. But power is different. When you seek power, so a servant asks the question to the neighbor, what can I do to help you? What do you need that I can maybe make your life better? My boys are in business, and I've taught them, don't ever worry about money. You take care of your clients. Whatever they need, you make sure they know you have their back. That's how you serve people. When the kids were little, and you've seen this on the Facebook page, my wife and I created a family crest. I wear that crest on my watch, and I've worn that watch almost every day for 30 years. That crest hangs on our walls of every one of our homes. And there's 5 principles on that: family, life, integrity, humility, and service for Christ. That's what our crest stands for. That's how I've been my whole life. This is no different. Someone who seeks power doesn't ask that question. One who seeks power says, this is how you should be, and if you're not part of my agenda, you're excluded. And they fight and argue. I've seen more. In 4 years, I was never called anything other than I had the highest integrity. Never called a liar. In the last 30 days, I can't believe it. I'm glad I haven't heard this in 40 years, right? And I ask myself, how is it that, and it's not just me, it's throughout the whole county against non-Ottawa impact candidates. I'm saying, how is this possible? Why is it so important that we people get angry? Why is it anger? Why is it personal? I can tell you, there have been no personal attacks by me or anybody on my team against my opponent. I refuse. I don't need a vote that bad. But why is it that we get so emotional? The other side is because of power. They want to control you. They're not asking you the question, what can I do for you? They're saying, this is what you should believe, and if you don't like it, you're going to be excluded. And they're going to control the press and tell people that they shouldn't follow the newspapers and medias, and they should only listen to the agenda put out by Ottawa Impact. And believe me, I've met people that only look at the blogs from Joe Moss's groups. I've met some really wonderful people as I've campaigned that support Ottawa Impact. Really have. But there's still that segment, that minority. And in my first speech 2 months ago about where I was going, I was trying to tell the community to remember who we are. We're good people, kind people. We've kind of lost our way. And after now going through the whole district, I've realized we haven't lost our way. We simply have a small minority group that's so vocal that we somehow can't hear our own principles as a community of goodwill. That's all they are. We're going to get a chance to vote on August 6th. But our vote is not just private. When we vote, you're voting for your community. This is another way for you to serve your neighbor by voting. So get involved, vote. Let's take care of that minority and remember who we are as a community. People that serve each other. Ask the question, how can we help? That's me, and I hope you vote for me on August 6th.
Thank you for your attention to these candidates and for giving us an opportunity to get to know you and your goals. Now we have time for audience members to speak individually with candidates. Each candidate has a table, as well as the League of Women Voters, so we have the information on our table. Please watch also and tell your friends in the county for additional meet and greet opportunities within our county. And remember to vote. It is your voice. Thank you.